dragging this out. I've already sought out another worker.
Oh, but I just thought if I spoke to you... Well, you've always been civil with me, Flory. She doesn't mean to start girling and getting on. That's just the way with her. And I know it can be difficult to have patience with that kind of thing. So I thought I might be able to put things to you in a calmer way than Flory here.
Florence's work was dirty and there was a definite smell of food. I'm trying to sell high quality goods. What use is goods that are dirty and smell of fried food? Customers will think they've been used before. What use is that?
My work, Mr. Egan. I wouldn't cheek you now by disagreeing with you. I just wanted to tell you a few bits and pieces that I think a man of your standing would want to know.
Go ahead, Alan. Set out your stall.
Mr. Egan, as you know, before the situation last week, myself and Flory have been working for you for 5 years now. And in all that time, we've been good and true workers who haven't arrived late or we've worked dirty. It's true. And in that time, you'll know that Flory has married and had 2 weans and still brings her work to you in a timely fashion. I know, for I call for her myself each week, and sure we dander down here together. Even the week she gave birth, she still found time to do the embroidery.
As you well know, Ellen, I've the bones of 30 of you from around these parts. Many's a girl's married with 3 or 4 burns. They still manage to get their work in on time, well executed and clean.
You're right. You're right, Mr. Egan. But 2 weeks ago, Flory's husband, Jeremiah, was involved in an accident in the fields with a scythe and has left the lump out the side of his leg. And the doctor says there's an infection, and if he doesn't get the leg cured, there'll be no more work. And how's he supposed to support the weans if he can't use his leg? Oh, and then the situation with Flory happened on the hills of the accident with Jeremiah, and the whole house is up in a heap with calamity. And I just thought, if you knew the full story, that you'd do something. Oh, Mr. Egan, she always does her best. And you said yourself, all your girls' work is of the highest quality.
That's true. That is true, Mr. Egan.
And if Flory's work was of such high quality 2 weeks ago, would it be an awful shame to let her go? You know Flory's work, and sure, if you were to bring in somebody else, you just have to go through all that again.
It's too late, Alan. I've already spoke to a wee girl. Used to be with Mrs. Ferguson out beyond Newton Ards. Say she's willing to walk here every week, from Bangor Mine. And Mrs. Ferguson is only the highest word for her work.
Well, if she's that high of a word for her, how come she's moving away from Mrs. Ferguson? You couldn't meet a better agent than Mrs. Ferguson. Excepting yourself, Mr. Egan.
Mr. Egan, I wouldn't let on to know what you're thinking, but I'd like to ask you to please, oh please think about taking Flory back on. I wouldn't come to you if I didn't think it was wild desperate. I myself, I'm godmother to wee Elizabeth. And me and Flory, we've been chums since we were wee. So who's to speak up for her if I don't?
I've great news, Ellen. This June, the largest ship in the world, the Olympic, sets sail for New York City, and I shall be on her.
How'd you manage that, Mr. Egan?
And when I get to America, I've arranged to meet buyers from all the New York department stores. Your work could be on sale in New York, imagine that. And in stores across America. Would that be something now, Ellen? Now, I don't mean to hold out false hope, but I'm trying to arrange a meeting, a small exhibition of white linen work in one of the larger New York department stores. Like our Robinson and Cleaver, only 20 times the size. Thousands of people go through its doors every week. Imagine that. Thousands of people seeing your work. Will you do your very best work for me? Can you do that, Ellen?
Oh, you just tell me what it is I have to do, Mr. Egan, and I'll deliver the goods. You can rely on me.
I don't mean to speak boastfully, for as we all know, pride comes before a fall. But if I'm successful in my endeavours in America, it could change our lives in many, many ways. The American market's the largest in the world. They cannot get enough Irish work linen into their stores. My head's bursting with the possibility of what could be achieved over the next couple of years. Isn't it remarkable? Here's you wanting to speak with me and me wanting to have a chat with you about this. What was it you wanted me to do?
Well, I was wanting to speak to you about Flory, sir. About the fact that her husband is injured and can't work. And I was hoping you, out of the kindness of your heart, would reconsider your decision to sack Flory. For if you do, her family will be destitute. And I can't see anything else for it but the poorhouse. Oh, Mr. Egan, I hope you appreciate that I wouldn't come to you like this if I didn't think it was a desperate, desperate predicament.
Go on.
And I thought, if I promised to look over Flory's work myself and make sure that she didn't bring anything back to you that you might feel wasn't up to scratch, that you might feel more comfortable with taking Florence back on.
you've always been a good worker, Alan. And I admire the loyalty you show your friend. I think loyalty is very important in a friend, and particularly important in a worker. Florence, you're a very lucky young woman to have such support from such a friend. I hope you know it.
Oh, Mr. Egan, I will be lost without her. I will be cast out onto the street with all my worldly goods trailed out behind me.
Well, out of respect to you, Ellen, and in regard to the difficult and challenging situation you find yourself in, Florence, I will review my decision. But I cannot overlook the lapse in quality you showed me last week. I cannot overlook that either as an employer or a man of principle. I mean, how does that look for the other workers? How can I show you preferential treatment and allow you to present me with shabby work? Now, this is what I propose. Young lady, I will take you back on, but I will pay you a halfpenny an hour for a 6-month probationary period. If there is a lapse in quality, I will release you immediately. Now more than ever, I cannot afford to have the quality of my work become slipshod.
But Mr. Egan, that's a whole halfpenny less. Well, do you have to lift a whole halfpenny off me?
I let you think on that, Florence. Now, I'm going out for a smoke of my pipe.
That mean-hearted, mean-spirited, bombing man.
Are you trying to lose us both our jobs? Keep your mouth shut.
Jeremiah was right. They're all bombing men. It is nothing more than slavery, that's what it is. How am I to work for a halfpenny an hour? That's 6pence for a day's work.
My cousin is with the agent at Andrew's Mill, and they only get the halfpenny farthing per hour, not the full penny. We do all right with Mr. Egan.
Well, Jeremiah says we really lose out. The women working up at the mills, they have Mary Galway to argue proper wages for them. But us home workers have nobody. I am knocking my pan in and that rogue is taking half my wages off me. Do you think that's right?
Well, what choice do you have?
Well, Jeremiah says that I should walk to Belfast myself one of these days. Go and see Mary Galway and see if she'll talk to Mr. William Egan. That'd put the fear of God in him. If he thinks that unions will be down on top of him.
If you think to threaten Mr. Egan with the unions, you're fit for the madhouse. And you will not mention Mary Galway, for if you do, I'm leaving this room and you're on your own. I've stood my neck out here for you, and I'll not be able to troublemaker alongside you. Your husband is sick. You have 2 wee bairns, and you will not let your mouth get the better of you. Are you out of the heads? You came in here to beg for your job back, and now you want to tell him how much he can pay you. Take the halfpenny an hour, and in 6 months' time, when you've proved yourself, you'll get your proper pay returned to you.
And what use is that? He'll just let me go again, and then I'll be in the same boat I am now.
Then you need to make sure he thinks you're worth keeping. Should way he's talking, he'll need plenty of workers. Listen, Florrie. I know you think Jeremiah is the bee's knees, but he spends too much time drinking porter and talking to other men who have too much time on their hands and think the talk of unions will put more money in their pockets. You'd be better off to spend in a good day's work.
Are you saying that my Jeremiah is a layabout?
If you accept the offer, I'll help you, and I'll take over your work for you, and I'll help you out whenever I can.
Well, maybe I should be working under a different agent. Maybe I'll go and see Mrs. Ferguson myself, see if she'll take me on.
She won't take you on without a reference, and Mr. Egan won't be giving you one with this hanging over you. Shh, there he is now. Now, I'm warning you, Florrie, don't you be causing trouble for me.
The sorriest thing I ever did to Polly is sticking your bell.
That's a fine day of the day, girls.
Mr. Egan, I'll just be on my way if I can give you my work for last week.
That's fine, Alan. A dozen hankies with monograms. That's 6 shillings for you, Alan.
Hey, Trevor.
Lovely work. Clean, fresh, good. Now, I'll give you a parcel for next week. Here you are. And I'd like you to embroider this wee christening gown for me for that exhibition I was telling you about.
Yes, Mr. Egan.
Mr. Egan.
Yes, Florence?
Mr. Egan, sir. Would you mind if I took a parcel of work to do for next week?
You can, surely, Florence. But mind you, keep it clean. And only your best work. The Yanks will pay, but only for the best. We live in great times, girls. We stand on the edge of the greatest time in history. The largest ship in the world, the Olympic, sets sail this June, and I shall be on her. The whole world's on the move, on ships built in Belfast. No other city can take its place. Irish linen. best in the world. We are part of history. I expect my endeavours in America to lead to a very bright future for all of us. And I hope you two girls are aware of this marvellous opportunity.
Oh, we are surely, Mr. Egan. Aren't we, Florrie?
We are. Thank you very much, sir.
Away on about your business, area.
See you next week, Mr. Egan.
See you next week, Mr. Egan.